Hello, Tito Jeff here, Ormoc City, Leyte, the Philippines. Today is the 11th of May, 11th of May 2026, and I've got a video here about budget busters. What will bust your budget in the Philippines? So stay tuned for budget busters in the Philippines. Okay, so you've decided you want to come to the Philippines and you want to stay, not for a few months. You want to stay, and you think you've got enough money. You've worked out a budget, maybe. Uh, you're going to be retired. You've got Social Security. You've got military retirement, whatever it is, whatever your source of income is. And you think you can live here because everything is cheaper in the Philippines. Well, yes, it is, mostly. Not everything. Milk is like $10 a gallon here in the Philippines. Gasoline right now is about $5 a gallon. It was up to 5.50. Um, some things I can't think of what, but there are other things like that that can be more expensive here than in the United States, at least. Um, but generally, rents are cheaper, restaurants are cheaper, uh, travel is cheaper, hotel rooms, flights within the country, ferries, and utilities. Water and electricity are usually cheaper. Okay. But things can still go wrong here in the Philippines. So, do you really need more money than what you have? You've got to have enough income, retirement income or whatever it is, to be able to pay your monthly bills. You also need some savings for emergencies. Because if you don't have any savings and you're depending entirely on your monthly income, you could run into big trouble. Let me talk to you about that. One, you get sick. You got to go to the hospital. Oh, but the hospitals are cheap in the Philippines. Well, yes, relatively speaking. Hospital room here in Ormoc City runs around $30 to $40 a night. And chest X-ray, $10. Visit to the doctor's office, $10. Doctor comes to see you in the hospital, $10 per visit. Medications are cheaper. Most everything is cheaper. Uh, but if you stay in the hospital 4 or 5 days, depending on the procedure, you could run up 100,000 peso bill, which would be almost $2,000, pretty quick. And if you don't have enough savings, you'll soon run out of savings by having those kind of episodes. If you know your health, if you're not in good health, you need to think about that when you come here. You got to have uh, some source of income, retirement savings to cover hospital expenses, I believe, or even eyeglasses. Eyeglasses, I paid about $500 for a pair of glasses with bifocals, and not the most expensive kind. Um, and you can have insurance here. What we have is PhilHealth, and PhilHealth is more like a discount card. It covers mostly hospitalization. They're just starting to cover other stuff. So I just learned, and I'm going to look into this some more because it's going to save me probably 20,000 pesos a year or more for lab work, X-rays, and maybe doctor's visits. So I go see a cardiologist every 3 months or so. That's 600 pesos. Once a year, she does an EKG. That's about 900 pesos. And she requires some blood work every visit. Well, I found out that the PhilHealth now covers blood work, basic blood work, CBC, blood sugar, some things like that. They also cover chest x-rays. And that's going to help me tremendously. PhilHealth costs me about 14,000 pesos a year. Is that right? No, 17,000 pesos a year, which is about what, $350, $350, something like that. And but so far, last year, fortunately, I was not in the hospital. But last year, years before that, I was in the hospital some, and it more than paid for the cost of having PhilHealth. And of course, like in America, even if you don't have health insurance, I mean, even if you're sick and you have health insurance, you need to keep it um, for just in case, right? So, but buying health insurance here through a private company can be kind of expensive. And I think after about age 65, they may not want to um, write you an insurance policy. Now, I heard of a guy, and I think he was about 50 years old, maybe 55. And he got a policy from Pacific something or other um, for, he said, $1,000 a year, 50,000 pesos approximately. And I don't know the details, but you're going to have copays, you're going to have deductibles. So I don't know that it's worth it to have private health insurance here in the Philippines. Now, some companies here offer their employees that, and they don't have to pay for it, so that's good for them. But for a retired guy here, I think it's better if you're going to come and get married, you can have this PhilHealth and get the marriage visa, get the PhilHealth, maybe even without the marriage visa. I'm not sure, but and I'll make a PhilHealth video later on. So, but I have savings. I have enough, and I'm not going to give you my numbers, but I have enough savings. And if I got sick every year, was in the hospital, and I had to spend like 300,000 pesos a year, it would last me 18 or 20 years. And that's in stocks. It's in some stocks. And right now it's growing, so it's going to last even longer. Of course, the stock market could crash, but I have some of it in cash also. Now, um, if you don't have any savings when you come here, you're going to run into trouble with healthcare, I think. So that could be a big one. Another big one could be a car wreck. You get in a car wreck here, even though you're not at fault, you could have to pay. If you don't think you're at fault, but still, when the police show up and somebody's injured and they got to go to the hospital, they could say, "Oh no, you foreign guy, you got to pay." Now, I've heard horror stories about that. I've never experienced the police doing that to me. I did have an accident one time, and the guy rear-ended me. I was turning left into a parking lot, had my signal on, and he tried to pass me on the left on a motorcycle, rear-ended me, and he had slowed down a little bit, but so he wasn't injured. He did go flying off the bike, scared the hell out of me. So, but he wanted me to pay for his bike. And my wife was pregnant. It was raining, and we were arguing, and she was stressed out. And I said, "Okay." I gave up like 140 bucks for some repairs to his bike. So I didn't like it. It rubbed me the wrong way, but I did it anyhow. So it could get you eating out every day. Now your lifestyle here is going to depend. It's going to make your budget's going to depend on your lifestyle. If you come here and you live in Manila and you want to eat out at American style restaurants every day, you're not going to eat this damn Filipino food. It's no good. I don't like to eat all that rice. I'm going to have cheeseburgers and steaks and go out every day. Some guys do that, and that's even though it's cheaper here, it's still expensive. Not always cheaper here, I don't think. I think a steak, just like Roadhouse or somewhere, could cost you 40 or 50 bucks. Because steak is not widely available here. Eating out, drinking a lot, going to bars, chasing the women. If you're not, have a friend here already, so that can get your budget, and that's the kind of thing that'll sneak up on you because you think you got enough money, and then all of a sudden, oh man, I went out too much last week. I ain't got any money left. I got to get some groceries or something. So that can get you. Making babies. Now this kind of goes back to hospitalization, but it's more than just a hospital. Hospital bill for my wife to have each one of our children was about 100 to 130,000 pesos, and that's the C-section. So it was with surgery. You can use a birthing center here, and that's what a lot of Filipinos do. and it's about 25,000 pesos. And I think PhilHealth will cover some of it. There is, and that is no, part of the coverage now. There are birthing centers that will PhilHealth will reimburse them. You can see a pediatrician at certain clinics through PhilHealth. So making babies, not just the hospital expense, but the formula, the diapers, the going to the doctor, vaccinations, and all that stuff is gonna add to your budget once you start making babies. Marcel and I, when I first came here, we lived on my well, first of all, we lived on my savings until I got my retirement money. I was here about April till November. What's that? 11 months, 7 months. And I lived on some of my cash savings. And then I started getting Social Security, which was about $14.50 a month at first, I think. Maybe closer to $1,500, $14.80, something like that. And we lived on that. That was fine. We had plenty of money. We had bought a house with my savings, paid cash for this house, did a renovation, and so we had no rent. So that helps with budgets. Having a house with no payment helps with the monthly budget. If you're going to try to live in apartments here, it can vary. I'm not going to go into that. So we could live on that. We traveled some. We would eat out more. We had more fun. No, we have fun with our kids. We love having our kids. But our budget got really tight when our first child came. Now, I'll tell you this secret. A lot of people don't know. If you're retired on Social Security and you make a baby, Social Security will give you a dependent benefit for that child. It will give you a dependent benefit for maybe another child. Actually, it'll give you for all the children you want, but up to a certain limit, 180% of your full retirement money. So if your full retirement is, I'm just going to say 1,000 pesos a month. Hopefully it's more than that, but 1,000 pesos, this is easy to do the math. Then you could get up to $1,800 a month for children. And then you're max out at 1,800. So if one child is getting, let's say, 600 pesos a month for the child benefit, and another, let's make it 9. Let's say 1,000 pesos a month for the benefit. And then the second child comes along, and now you expect them to get 1,000. Well, they won't do that because you're past the $1,800 mark, and they will cut back on the. They will lower the benefit of the first child and make it match the second child to meet that $1,800 maximum, which would be about $900 a month. It takes time. It takes a year for me to get benefits for my kids the last time. And we're on track for that now with my little girl. She's 8 months old. So they said if we want her to get back pay, so they will pay back to the date of birth. If it takes a year, they'll pay you for 12 months from the time they were born, their back pay on benefits. But they also told me now the second child, if she wants benefits, then we have to pay back whatever the benefit, the difference in the benefit between for my son, what it was and what it will be now. So it amounted about $100 a month, and that's worth it. So you have to do that. So we'll have to send them a payment, and then Maria will get her back pay, and that'll be a lot more than what we pay. Now, you need to have a budget plan before you come, or you'll bust your budget. If you don't have any idea of how much money you're spending when you get here, it's easy. I don't say you will because I don't know you, but it's easy to go over budget. So my wife and I, once we started getting the money, I said, let's do, you ever heard of Dave Ramsey in America? An envelope budget. So I would go to BDO where I was receiving my retirement check from Social Security, and I would withdraw US dollars, have it converted to pesos, and I would just get everything in cash. And I'd tell them I want 1,000 pesos and 500s and hundreds and fifties to meet my budget. Just so I knew what I was going to have to use those for. For instance, my water bill is only like 600 pesos a month, so I don't want to get a 1,000 peso bill to try to pay for water jugs when they deliver, and they're 30 pesos each. So I get some 100s and 50s and things like that. So I started doing that, and that was okay. And then went to the market one day and I lost an envelope and had a lot of money in it. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. So I started working out. So some of the things we pay for online, like buying groceries at the supermarket, we use a card to order Food Panda and Grab, which is online food service, things like that. So anyway, but we still use the envelope method, and we have a written budget in Excel spreadsheet, and I can see where we're going over budget because we almost always go over budget. We still spend too much, but I have a little buffer in my budget so that it's not too bad. I'd like to be able to save a little bit, so I let it build up and then take a trip or something like that. But you got to have a budget. And the next item, you need to have an agreement with your Filipino girlfriend or Filipino wife what we're going to spend on everything. She's going to want some money to spend. What wife wouldn't want some allowance? You're going to want some pocket money. That's what I'm talking about. Pocket money for her and for you. You need to say, okay, I can cover the rent and the groceries, the electricity, the water, gasoline for a car, repairs for a car, what else, whatever's in there. And this is what we got left. Now, you can have a certain amount for an allowance, and I'll get 50% of that because I'm the guy. But you need to agree on that before you start spending money. And she needs to know right up front, this is how much money I'm going to have. This is how much we can spend. And after I come to the Philippines, we'll see, because maybe I don't understand how things are really going to work, but this is a limit we have, and you have to agree to that. Don't expect me to spend $2,000 a month when I only have $1,500 in retirement money coming in. So you've got to have an agreement. And my wife is good about that. She will tell me, no, that's too expensive. Don't spend money on that. I want to eat out. No, I cook something. We save our money. Somebody wants some money, her family. No, don't give them money. They don't need that. Now, we have helped out our family, and I like to help our family. That's what I did in Kentucky. I helped my family sometimes. My parents, my brother, cousins, aunts and uncles sometimes. Not so much them. But my aunts and uncles and my parents, they set the example for, we help our family. So I'll do that here. They are my brothers and sisters, 7 of them, and her mother. I give her mom a little allowance. I started doing that while I was in America. It wasn't much, and I had a good job, a good paycheck. And so it's nice, good to deal here. But then we pay for her to go to the doctor, pay for her prescriptions, and pay for her blood work. So going back to PhilHealth, now they're going to pay for her blood work. That's going to save me money every year. So that's the deal. You got hospital bills, eating out, not having common ground with your Filipina, car wrecks, making babies, not having a budget when you come. So you need to ask yourself before you get here, do I need more money? How much savings do I have? Jeff, how much is the least that you would have saved up to come to the Philippines? Well, I would say at least 2 million pesos, whatever that is in dollars. I won't, because the rate changes. I'll tell you 2 million pesos. And that's just for emergencies. It can be expensive to have surgery here. If you need surgery, life-saving surgery, you got to have the money. They just won't do it. It's up front. They'll ask you, where's the money? I'm 150% down. I had to have an angioplasty when they stick tube up through, they didn't go in my groin. They went in through my arm, up into my heart, released the dye. They took a picture of my heart to see if I had any blockages. Fortunately, none. And if I needed stents, then it was going to be more. So we planned on that, having stents. I went to a hospital that was able to do that. You can't do it here in Ormond. Went to Cebu City. So the total expected was 400,000 pesos. And I had to pay 50%, 200,000 pesos. Well, my bill was only, fortunately, about 110,000 pesos. And I got a refund. It took about 3 weeks, but I got a refund. So that's just one example. That's 400,000 pesos real quick. That's about $8,000 that you could have to spend on just an angioplasty, not open heart surgery, nothing like that. So if you want to come here and have good health care, you got to have some savings. I just guarantee you. Now, maybe you come here. Maybe you come in here and think, well, I'll use my VA benefits. I'll just go to Guam, or I'll fly back to America if I get sick. Maybe you can't. Maybe you're so sick. One, they might not let you on an airplane, or you may not feel like getting on an airplane. So you got to get some help here. And they do have good health care. Don't listen to horror stories about how bad the health care is. The guy who did my angioplasty graduated from the University of Chicago. He did all of his residencies in the United States and came here. He's a teaching doctor. So I had good doctors and good nurses. Nurses are well trained here. The hospital room was not as fancy as what you will have in America. You will have all the extra lighting and like suction available on the wall where they can use it real quick. I did have oxygen on the wall and something else in that hospital. But it was kind of just a plain Jane room, no electric bed, little tiny TV on the wall, and no comfortable place for my wife to sleep. You got to have somebody with you at all times. So it can get expensive. So rethink your plan before you come here. All right, maybe I don't have enough saved. Just things like that happen. So I hope this video helped you. My name is Jeff, Tito Jeff, which means Uncle Jeff in Filipino. And please like and subscribe. I hope this, if it didn't help you a bit, tell me in the comments. I don't like that. I don't like the sound. I don't like the way you talk. Just any kind of helpful comments or snide remarks. See you later.